Happy Wednesday, everybody. Can't believe it's Wednesday already. This week is flying by. Hope you guys all had a fabulous holiday weekend. What was it? Was it Labor Day weekend? Can't believe we're into September and the end of summer. My goodness. Well, today has been a fun, exciting day. We've had our first class with live in-person people since when, Leanne?
You know, it has been since the February advanced class.
Oh my gosh.
We have not, the last time we as a staff was together was our holiday party in February.
My goodness.
I know, can you believe it? It's like
So
running.
we haven't been physically in front of students since February, and it's so fun to have people in class again. And so I taught this morning, and now I'm here with you. I'm ready to put my feet up and relax with you guys. Marissa's out teaching the afternoon class, and I've got David and Leanne in here with me today. So give a shout out, say hi to David and Leanne.
Hello, everybody.
Hi there.
And look at these gorgeous flowers. We've got some cosmos and some dahlias, and this is celosia, right? A form of celosia.
It is, yeah. Isn't that gorgeous?
And we've got all these fun, textural, amazing things. And they were brought to us from one of our students that's attending our wedding boot camp tomorrow. She flew in for the day from Kentucky, and these are from her yard that she brought specifically for us. And so I wanted to share them with you. Aren't they fabulous? And I might be using some of these fun textural bits in what I'm doing today.
Well, save some for me. Don't take them all.
They're all mine. And I've got some other fabulous things that I'm going to be using today. Oh, let's see. Where to start? I'm going to be doing some flowers to wear today. And it's because we have launched our second video in our series of wedding floral specialists called Flowers to Wear. As you know, we've already launched Bouquets to Carry, which many of you are taking in our online program, and now the second installment of Flowers to Wear. So it's up, and we have a special discount code for you all. It's F2W100. So you'll get $100 off if you sign up between now and the end of October. That's F as in Frank, the number 2, the letter W, and then 100.
Oh my gosh, that's too professional.
I'm so used to talking on the phone, and you have to clarify each letter because it's so hard to understand sometimes. And time for me to put my glasses on so I can see. So I thought I would share some of the corsages and boutonnieres that I do for wedding work when I'm not here teaching. So first, show you some wristlets. So I'm going to do a glued corsage first. And we've got this wonderful pearl bracelet and this cuff. Got the slap bracelet, and then there's the elastic, standard, basic wristlet that I'm sure many of you have seen before. The cuff is classic. It was really a hot seller in the last couple years. And you know what? Brides are starting to want things a little bit more traditional, so they're going with the beaded bracelet. And I love this autumn kind of coppery color, and it's going to go so beautifully with these amazing ranunculus. Aren't these, the colors on this are fabulous. Look how beautiful that is together. So who do we have out in Facebook land and YouTube land today?
You know, you a full house in both, and I don't
Awesome.
know which is which, I'm just trying to keep track. But we've got Tess, Vicky, Leslie, Elaine, Ruby, Sharon, Chris, Nikki, Peter, Rochelle, Chris, Julie, Jim. David, Jim says hi to you. He's not on his bike today. Janet, Rose, and oh my gosh, it is just crazy here. Therese and Joe, and so Liz, you got an international happening group going on.
Well, welcome everybody. Grab your cup of coffee, your glass of wine, kick back and relax.
Get those tulips in there so that you introduce yourselves, get to know your tribe.
All right, so I'm going to start. Oh, and then I'm going to do a wired and taped corsage, and then I'm going to do an exposed stem boutonniere. And maybe something else. Who knows? So I'm going to start with my bracelet here, and it always comes with this little plastic square piece, and when you take it out of the package, it has these ties, so you'll always want to undo that and tie it in a knot. That way that plastic piece stays secure onto your band, and you don't have to worry about it coming off. Oops. And I'm just going to give that ribbon a little snip. And I'm just going to flip it over so that plastic piece is on the outside of my band. And that's what I'm going to glue to.
So there's a question that came in. Are there any flowers you would never use for flowers to wear?
I would never use probably dahlias, hydrangea, those really thirsty flowers. You know, green mini hydrangeas seem to be a bit hardier. So if you took a little sprig of green hydrangea and tucked it in, that would work. Anything that is going to wilt quickly out of water, I would not use. Something that holds up beautifully. Ranunculus hold up amazingly well. We use these all the time. Lysianthus are another fabulous flower to use. Spray roses, these, probably wouldn't use dahlias. Zinnias, probably wouldn't use those. They tend to be a little bit thirstier. So yeah. Great, that was a great question. Let's see. Everything that's on trend right now is very textural. And look at this. This is in the Brunia family. Brasilia. It starts with a B.
Let's see, we have some B names that are here. We've got Betty is joining us.
Hi, Betty.
Liz, Janice, Deanna, Arthur, Donna, Melee, Denise, Debbie, Thea, and Marnie. You've got a great group coming in. I'm so glad you guys are all here.
So I'm going to show you this vase of ranunculus again. And see this one here? It's bent right, kind of broken a little bit. This is amazing to use for any corsage or boutonniere work because you won't be able to use it in your bridal bouquets or bridesmaids bouquets because it's broken right here. But it's perfect for flowers to wear. So I think I'm going to take this one because it's a little shorty. I'm going to take, aren't those just fabulous? Those are so yummy. And I'm going to cut them down pretty close to the base so that they lay flat. Bring in some seeded eucalyptus, snip off a little piece, and I think I'm going to use some of the leaves just to cover my base a little bit. Get rid of that plastic.
Nate wants to know, do you use tropicals in your flowers to wear?
Tropicals. I can't think of any small tropicals.
You knew the dendrobiums?
Oh, well, dendrobiums.
Well, and oncidium.
True.
And the miniature cymbidiums.
Now that you say that, I'm like, oh yeah.
You're going, well, I wouldn't use the largest anthurium.
That's what popped in my head when you're when you said tropicals.
Lilliput.
Oh yeah, yes.
Would be way cool.
We have a stem of dendrobiums, which are fabulous. And like Leanne said, the oncidiums, cymbidiums, like the mini cymbidiums, or even a little bit larger cymbidiums, make fabulous corsages. And then back in the day, Cattleya orchids, those big, gorgeous orchids, you made beautiful shoulder corsages. Those are scrumptious. But when you said tropicals, I'm thinking Heliconia, bird of paradise.
So Diane wants to know if the Flowers to Wear class is online.
It is online. And what's great about our online program, it's totally self-paced. You can log in at any time and watch the videos over and over and over again until you have it down pat. You can design along with Leanne. You can call us in the office and we'll walk you through anything that you're not understanding or just need a little confidence boost on. We're here for you. So yeah, it's online. You have up to a year of teacher support. So it's fabulous. So I'm going to take some of my, oh my goodness, I'm having a brain fade between teaching. Seeded eucalyptus leaves.
You know, you have to use your words all day.
I know.
Getting back into the swing of it. Elaine says she thought the same thing. She doesn't think of orchids as tropicals. She just thinks of them as orchids.
I know. Like, oh yeah, I guess they are tropicals, aren't they? So I'm just putting a little bit of glue on the back. Not too much because it gets a little slippery, and let it set up a little bit. Finding some kind of the right size. So that's kind of what it's starting to look like here.
While you're gluing, Deanna just announced that she worked her first wedding last week.
Great job, Deanna. That's exciting. That's awesome. So
did she get her first? How many did you work last week?
I think I did 4. It was a hot one too. I've been so thankful. I mean, you know, with COVID and everything, the wedding season has just been not as busy as in previous years, and been very fortunate to be able to do several weddings recently, and several of them on private property, so they've been able to be larger than what they would be at a venue. So we've done a couple that were 300 guests, and then some that are, you know, as small as 50, and elopement packages, which are just this, you know, a bridal bouquet and a boutonniere and maybe a bridesmaid's bouquet. Yeah. It's nice to see weddings coming back. So I'm going to take my first ranunculus and then just pop that on right here, kind of on the other side where I haven't put any eucalyptus leaves yet. I'm going to go ahead and put my other one here and just give that a little squish, make it sure it's in there. And this wasn't planned, but I'm noticing my nails match the color of the ranunculus.
They wanted to know if we knew the name of that ranunculus, and we don't.
We
I think
don't.
It's called Pretty Flower.
There we go. And I love the seeds of the eucalyptus. Nice textural bits. And texture is the name of the game in most anything bridal these days. So I'm going to take my glue and put a little bit on that stem. And I'm just going to start tucking in. Letting a leaf kind of drape off over to the side. Giving some movement. And this one. What else is going on out there as I'm cutting up?
There's people I want to do a shout out to. Antonio, Marmac, Rick, Heather, Uric, Nina, Scott, Diane, Milo, Ionella, Tess, Cindy, Bill, Scott, Diane, Frankie, Nicole, and Wayne. And Rose just pointed out that she submitted her lessons online.
Good job, Rose.
But I don't think she's been graded yet because we've been teaching and living
Oh my
and getting ready
goodness.
for flower school. But Rose, we promise we're going to get our grading all caught up this week. So if you've all submitted something and you're wondering, we will be caught up by Friday, I promise. But we are a little bit behind. You students have been busy.
You have been very busy. That's what you did over the holiday weekend. You were busy doing your lessons. So I'm going to take some of this Brunia, right? Brasilia. I keep wanting to call it Brunia. I was laughing with the students this morning because growing up here and starting my design career here, I called Salal. Moving to Southern California, they call it lemon because it looks like a lemon leaf. And so moving back up here, I kept wanting to call it lemon, and I get tongue-tied between lemon and Salal. And I think I've finally conquered the Salal-lemon dilemma, and I'm calling it Salal. Now I've got to go between Brunia and Brasilia.
You know, Diane just got a job at a flower shop and says thank you for the excellent instruction in the online courses.
Awesome.
Congratulations, Diane.
That's so awesome, Diane.
And Holly pointed out I sounded muffled because Holly, the only person that's unmasked, is in front of the camera. The rest of us are all totally masked and spaced out because we are doing as safe of procedures as we possibly can so that we can stay open.
Yeah, that's another thing about teaching. We're having to learn to teach distanced and masked, and whew, yeah, lots of things to think about. Not just teaching today. It's been a big learning curve today. So that's why I'm glad I'm here to put my feet up with you all.
The question is, what kind of adhesive are you using?
This is Oasis Floral adhesive. And it's perfect for flowers. It's not temperature sensitive, so if you pop these in the cooler, the flowers are not going to pop off and fall apart. It's amazing. And it's not going to damage your flowers.
They wanted to know if there's any type that you shouldn't use that glue on.
Not that I know of. You either?
No, I think you can do it with everything.
Yeah, I haven't had a problem with it on anything.
I did have somebody point out that they sometimes have trouble with it sticking to the tab, and it's glue to glue to make it work. So you put a little bit of glue on the tab, then glue on the flower, and then it holds better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you do it, very true. If you do put glue on the back of your leaf, stick it on, pull it off, put it back on, and that glue to glue contact does. So I've added some of the Brasilia and the seeded eucalyptus. What else do I need in here? I think I need some more seeded eucalyptus leaves.
great question for you, Carolyn, because you do so many weddings and events and have for years, both in California and here in Oregon. And with the more educated customers because of Pinterest and Instagram and that, do you ever have people ask for something that is genuinely unrealistic? And then how do you handle that?
I've had a lot of requests for black flowers. People will be searching Pinterest for black flowers. There are no true black flowers, so I do have to let them know that that's either a photoshopped product or it's a silk product. And we could absolutely do something in silk. But once we let them know that that may have been photoshopped or it's a silk product, I do bring out, if I have them in my cooler, I'll bring them out like the black dahlias or the Schwartz, not dahlias, Keller lilies that are very dark burgundy. Dahlias come in a dark burgundy, so if they wanted something that really dark black color, then I could show them what we can truly get, and a lot of times they'll totally go with that. So yeah, it's just about just talking them through it and just educating them, because a lot of times, even if they are, you know, savvy about design, sometimes people just don't realize that just because it's on the internet doesn't make it real.
Have you ever worked with plumeria? That was a question.
Plumeria. I never have. It was quite prevalent in Southern California, although to go cut it and have it work in something, it never held up for us. And I don't know if that was a particular kind of variety that grew in California, because didn't you do a wedding, Leanne, with plumeria?
I did. I did a wedding in Mexico. It was a destination wedding, and we flew in right after they had a hurricane, and so everything was not possible. And so we did the entire wedding with 4-inch materials, and plumeria was what I could get.
And then how did yours hold up?
They held up really well because they were just picked right then. I don't know that they shipped well. I think if you tried to order them and get them, they wouldn't. But if you can just pick it.
Yeah, we could never order it. And yeah, that was something that we couldn't readily do. And then we were never trusting of the plumeria bushes, so. All right, so there is a glued ranunculus corsage.
Oh, that is gorgeous. Oh,
Perfect for the mother of the bride, mother of the groom.
Do you ever worry about it falling apart?
No, I don't. Knock on wood, I can say I've never had a corsage fall apart.
They're asking about blue roses and black roses. Would you consider spray painting them?
I have. I personally, let's see, I've gone both ways. So I used to work in a shop, a local shop here, where we refused to spray paint anything. That was just their standard. But in California, we did a little bit more spray painting. We had a customer that always loved black flowers. In fact, he would order flowers for his wife for Valentine's Day, and their favorite holiday was Halloween. So we had to make a black arrangement for Valentine's Day for her. So we would paint tea leaves, we would paint roses, we would do all kinds of things, and they absolutely loved it. And then we did a quinceañera one year, and we had to paint our white roses teal and sprinkle glitter on them. So you do what the customer asks for.
Kim pointed out that you want to be really careful of dyed flowers and wedding dresses.
Absolutely. All right, next. Let's see. Let's do do an exposed stem boutonniere. Oh, you know what? Let's do one to match. Let's do one to match the corsage.
Ooh, a coordinating set.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the final exam from the Flowers to Wear class where they have to submit a coordinating set.
There you go. That's right. And don't forget the flowers to wear. And the $100 off code, F2W100. Good through October. All right. So to do this, I'm going to leave this stem kind of long. It's a little bit longer than boutonniere length, but that's okay. And then what I do to wire this is I am just going to run a 22 gauge wire up through the bottom of the stem and let it catch in the bud of my ranuncula. And then I don't need that extra wire. And that's just going to keep it straight. It's when the groom or the groomsman's wearing it, it's not going to droop forward. So that's why I insert the wire through there. Let's see. Maybe I want a bud. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my bud. I'm just going to run a wire up through the stem. And sometimes you've got to manipulate it and twist it so that the wire just slides up there and doesn't come out the side. And then just catch it in the head of the bud. Let's see. And then I'm going to use some seeded eucalyptus. Leave my stems long. Let's see, what other bits of textural goodness do I have? Oh, that's right. I have a little bit of Brasilia. Did I get it right?
Yeah, good.
So I'm going to leave it long as well. Just kind of peel back some of its bits. Maybe I'll even take a little bit of its foliage. And now I have all my bits. Can you guys all see that? And that's it. I don't have to do anything else except for gather them in my hand. And the look now is just kind of gardeny. It's not super, oh, what's the word? It's not very formal.
Well, that brings up a question. Debbie wanted to know that you were using texture and such and not bows and bling. Do you see that trend fading? But then Wayne wants you to make sure and add a diamond to it.
The next one, when I do a wired and tape corsage, I'll do something a little more traditional. It just depends. Most of the things that we do right now is very textural, gardeny, and just kind of put together like this. And then I'm going to take my tape, my corsage tape, and I want to just wind it around the top. I'm just going to go around a couple times, and I don't want to be any wider than the width of my tape. So can you see that? Can you see? I haven't gone very wide at all. I've just kept that simple little band. And now I just have kind of a casual, gardeny boutonniere. And I'll go and trim my stems up here in a little bit. But now I can do a couple things. I didn't have, well, I do have here. So
the question is, do you refrigerate your glued corsages and also these natural stem corsages after you're done?
yes, I do. We will pop them in the cooler, spray them down with Crowning Glory, pop them in the cooler. This corsage, this glued corsage, I would probably make a day ahead. a couple days ahead, I might prep the bows and that type of thing if I added a bow to this one. But I'll make this one a day ahead of the event. The exposed stem boutonniere, I can make them on Wednesday or Thursday for a Saturday event, because what I'll do is leave my stems long, fill up a little container of water, and say I had 7 of these, I just pop them in like this, all 7 of them in this little vase, put them in the cooler, and they hold just like an arrangement would. That's the beauty of making exposed stemmed boutonnieres. So I could finish this off in a couple ways. So I cut a piece of, I'm so bad at numbers. This is number
3.
Number 3, thank you. Number 3 corsage ribbon. And then I just wrap it around. And I don't want to go any wider than my tape. And then I would just fold my end under nicely. And then this is where I could use a little dash of Oasis Floral Adhesive, but the majority of the time I'll just pop a little dab of hot glue there. And that holds it like this. And it's just going to give you this nice band that's just super on trend.
So Scott was asking, was that a 1/2 inch or 1 inch corsage tape?
This was
Half
the 1/2 inch. The 1 inch I use all the time for bouquet work. So another really fun way that's super on trend to tie off your boutonniere is to, it's hard to do that facing your direction, is I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm going to create a tail right here, and I'm going to tie a knot right here. So that's why I've put my tail kind of in the front of my boutonniere. And then I'm just going to wrap it around. I'm going to give it a twist, a little angle twist like that, and I'm going to just wrap. And I'm starting at the bottom and wrapping it around and going all the way to the top. And I want to get it up as close to the top as possible. Can you guys see that? I don't want any little bits and ends showing. And then I'm going to come around and grab that tail that I put in there first, and then just tie this knot.
So in your clients, with all your weddings and such, do you find more people wanting the formal ribbon covered or the natural stem?
The natural stem. It's rare that we'll do a full covered stem, but every once in a while we do.
And then are you finding more wrist or more pinned corsages?
More wrist, but we do have a couple requests for pin on. So there you go. There's that cute little boutonniere.
So when you deliver your boutonnieres, do you do 1 pin, 2 pins, 3 pins, 4 pins?
In my shop in California, we always did 2 pins. Here, it's 1 pin in here, and then we throw in some extra. So the day of, I would go in, I would cut it down to boutonniere size, making sure they're all even and everybody's the same length. So it's all ready to go. Look at this.
Yeah, hold them both up because they really do look great.
Look at that.
That, oh yeah, those
Does that look pretty?
Yeah. Hold them against your black. Maybe put them down. Yeah.
Boutonniere.
Yeah, nice.
Corsage.
Ooh. We'll have to get some good pictures of these tomorrow so that we can post them. You guys just watch the Facebook and Instagram feed. We'll get some pictures of these up.
That's
so
right.
You can enjoy them. You know, while you are gathering the things for your neck, I just want to do a shout out to the tribe because they are all connecting and collaborating, which makes me so happy. Some people in England discovered they are actually fairly close to each other, and so they're making up a friendship.
Oh,
and
yay!
then Australia is connecting with some people there. Then Rick was just announcing that he's got his first wedding where he's doing everything, the rentals.
Awesome.
In October, but in November, he's doing a wedding in New Jersey and wondering if anybody in the tribe has space, they would rent him to work in New Jersey. So if you are in New Jersey, go through the feed, it gives you the city, I didn't write it down. But that could be fun. The Tulip Tribe helps each other.
All right, so I'm going to do a wired and tape corsage next. Do you want me to do a spray rose or Dendrobium orchid?
Okay, I'll watch and see what the answer is.
Oh, I almost forgot. Look at all these fun little bits and pieces. This bleached ruscus would look fabulous in here. Might have to add a couple pieces while I'm waiting to hear what you guys want me to do next. What else is going on?
You know, they're talking about how pre-COVID there would be so much hugging that they would destroy the boutonnieres and corsages, and so sometimes they had to do more.
Oh, interesting. So you'd have some extras on hand. I've actually never made extras. That's a really good idea.
That way they had a step for the pictures and such, and then later for the reception photos, they still looked good.
Well, that's really smart.
Well,
look at
it looks like it's close, but I think you're going to be doing Dendrobium.
All right, look at that ruscus in there. I just stuck it in there. I didn't put any glue on it, but isn't that cool? How that pops in there, and that makes it kind of that boho look, that super on trend. All right.
While you get that, I'm going to do some shout outs here. We've got Joy, Gemma and Mark, Polly, Kathleen, Cindy, Julie, Tanya, Ruth, Tammy, Kim, Harmony, Mike, Faith, Janet, Amber, Berga, and Lori. And I know I don't have everybody. Janet, Sally, Debbie. It is just, you got a full house here. It's pretty darn exciting. And they love the thought that you might be using some of your preserved materials. They want that too.
I'll just put one in the boutonniere. So I'm going to go in and I've cut off some Dendrobium blooms. Going to wire those. And I think I'll use this ribbon. That's kind of pretty. It's kind of greenish yellow. It picks up the green of the throats of the orchids, unifies that color nicely. Join us in flower school and you'll learn elements and principles and unify and harmony and all those things.
Asking if your boutonnieres and corsages would include the elements and principles as well. I would say that was your perfect opportunity to say, yes, they do.
Absolutely. If you noticed in this corsage, everything stems from the central binding point. I've got my focal emphasis. I have my line, texture, contrast. Yes, indeed, Wayne. So I'm going to make a couple little bows here. And when I do my bows, I don't typically make a center loop. And I learned this in my shop in California. They always added this cute little tuft or bauble of ribbon within the corsage and then added the bow at the bottom. Isn't that cute? And I'll show you how that all works. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm using 26 gauge wire. So it's nice and thin. It's going to keep everything slim, it's not going to be bulky, and I'm going to tape it. And I've gotten in the habit of taping it pretty much all the way down, but you don't have to because we're going to cut a lot of that out. But when you're taping, make sure, yeah, pull this out. Do you see how really green and solid it is? But when you stretch it out, see how sheer it gets? And you want to stretch it to almost your breaking point. And that's really going to activate that stickiness to it and allow you just this really nice smooth surface. So I'm using a little bit of a pierce technique to wire this Dendrobium. Oops, that didn't work too well. That happens, their heads pop off. So another technique I use to wire my Dendrobiums is to do a little hairpin at the top, and then I'll slide it down through the throat.
Mara wants to know if you did her challenge with
I didn't yet.
Okay.
I need to do that. I got busy, and no, I didn't.
So Nicole wants to make sure that you let them use some of those preserved things in the wedding class tomorrow. Okay, yes, we'll make sure there's some of that out there. The flowers came in today, they're so gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful.
The wedding class is so much fun. I have such a blast teaching that class. I love teaching all the classes, but I love Wedding Flower Boot Camp.
It is a fun one.
It's a super fun class. All the classes are fun, but there's just something special about Wedding Flower Boot Camp. Okay, what else is going on? Sorry, I get intense when I wire.
I know. So Nicole said that she has 2 acres in Kentucky, and so that's where those flowers were grown.
Oh, fabulous.
And she carried them on the plane and then dropped them here.
That's so
And
awesome.
since we had another class in, she couldn't come in because we were doing, very
Right.
secure and safe. So she did a no-contact drop-off. It's sort of like ding-dong and run.
That's right. You've got some, oh gosh. There's so many fabulous things in here. I keep forgetting this. Like, oh my gosh.
Well, I might want that. Yeah. And then somebody said that they noticed you were using light green. Do you prefer light green or do you use any others?
I prefer light green. I'm not a dark green fan. It's not my favorite.
We did red, silver, and gold in the Flowers to Wear course. That was kind of fun.
That was fun. Absolutely. Oh, in fact, I think we have some silver up here. Isn't that fabulous?
It really gives you some ability to coordinate things so well.
Yeah, light green is my favorite.
And then somebody asked about pinning on boutonnieres and such, and you know what? I think that's a good Tulip Tuesday. I think I'm going to just have to get that filmed. So thanks for
good
the suggestion.
idea. Then I'll keep my tips and tricks quiet until Leanne tells yours.
Well, we can have different ones. Totally fine. You can do yours too.
All right, so I'm kind of done wiring my orchids, and I've got my little bauble of ribbon. I'm going to come in and make a little bit bigger bow for the base. Typically, I would use Italian ruscus. I love Italian ruscus in wired corsages. It's just got this nice little drapiness to it. But today I'm going to use seeded yew. Well, what do I have over here? Ooh, I wonder if this fun grassy stuff would hold up.
Awful sucks, I don't know, but maybe Nicole knows. She can tell us that tomorrow.
It's always fun to try new product, but test it out before you send it out. Never want it to fail, but always try new product because you never know what's going to hold up. And you think, oh my gosh, could have used that, and it holds up beautifully.
Arthur pointed out that he always finds a woman to pin on the boutonnieres and corsages because being a man, sometimes it can be awkward. But you know, one of our graduates, that was her total job. She loved it. Is she would go and pin on all the boutonnieres and corsages and hand the bride her bouquet and just tell everybody how lovely they were and then leave. Because she actually didn't like doing the work.
Oh, that's awesome.
She didn't like selling a wedding. So she found somebody that all she did was go and service the wedding, which made her so
That's
happy.
so awesome.
Every Saturday she might do 3 setups where she'd just show up, pin everything on, tell everybody how lovely they were, and then move on down the road. It was a fun job for her.
What a great idea. All right, so I've got my bottom bow, my in-between bow, and I've kind of got my orchids already, and I've got some bits of eucalyptus, seeded eucalyptus. Now I'm choosing not to wire these because the stem's long enough. I'm just gonna pop it in, and I'll show you how I take care of those.
You know what, if you pull them back on the table,
Pull them
they're
back?
not showing where they are. Get them as close to you as possible.
Okay. So I've got my bits. Is
Or
that
you could
showing
put them on
better?
the box if you wanted to, but I think if you bring them back like that, they'll show, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
everybody see those?
Yeah, that
All
is
right,
like
so
that.
now I kind of
Yeah.
want to sequence. So I'm thinking that one looks like my smallest one. So I'm going to start with this one. And I'm going to maybe start with this piece of eucalyptus. And then I'm just going to give that a little band of tape. I'm not going to tape it all the way down because I want to add a little bit more, maybe a little bit more eucalyptus. Kind of fill in here. And maybe another little flower, another bloom. And I'm going to turn it so that they're talking to each other because orchids are social creatures. They like to have a conversation. That was one thing I learned from Leanne way back when I first took basic floral design. And I've never forgotten it. So now I have some wired stems and I have some natural stems. And I've just done a little bit of band of tape across the top. I haven't taped it all the way down because I want to cut out these natural stems and make it as slim as possible. And then I'll go and tape that end kind of like that. I'm still leaving those apart. I'm not going to tape the whole thing down because I want to be able to trim those out as I go. So what else is going on out there? Any questions? Any?
You know, they're loving what you do. One person said they used straw flowers in some corsages last weekend, and wondering if you're seeing that happening too.
I am. In fact, probably last summer, we did this big boho themed photo shoot, wedding photo shoot for, it's like a wedding crawl where brides and fiancés, brides and grooms put to, I'm sorry. Couples. Oh my goodness. Did this crawl and it buses would take them from venue to venue, and they get to have wine and hors d'oeuvres and see the venue and see all these vendors. Well, we did this big boho themed wedding with centerpieces and our boutonnieres and corsages, and they had these gorgeous straw flowers in them. They were so amazing. So I've got my 2 blooms at the top, and I'm going to stick my little bauble of ribbon in here. Kind of bring it up, just to bring some of that color and fullness at the top of the corsage. Give it a little tape, so that way I can let my fingers relax. And then I can come in and start working in some more seeded eucalyptus. See how that's looking? And maybe another bloom. And the great thing about it being on wires is I can manipulate it and kind of get it to go where I want it to go.
So as you're finishing that up, the question came in the new Flowers to Wear course, do you teach some of the wired and taped, and do you teach glue, or is it just one or another, or how is that?
We teach it all. We teach wire and tape and gluing, everything that's on trend, and I think there's some surprises in there too, on some new techniques that you're gonna love. So again, the code for that is F2W100. So when you go purchase that online, you'll pop that in the coupon code and you'll get $100 off. So now I've got lots of wires and natural stems in here. Can you guys see that? And I'm going to go in and I'm going to completely cut out these natural stems. I don't want those at all in here anymore because they're going to be too thick. So all I have left are my wires.
So a couple of questions. How do you feel about magnets in corsages, and do you use any of the boutonniere holders that you're starting to see on the market?
Boutonniere holder?
Little tussy-mussy holders, things?
Oh, I have not used a boutonniere holder. Haven't had a request for that. I have done several magnets. And magnets are okay. Sometimes they can be a little bit bulky. I did find a really nice one that had kind of a little divot cut out of the back, and it just fit really nicely against the back of the boutonniere corsage. So yeah, I have used that. And so I just fluffed out my ribbon, and I'm gonna go tuck it underneath here.
Monarch wants to know if we have fascinators in the new course, and yes we do. It includes fascinators, wearables, wired and taped, the classic styling, and then the contemporary glued, a whole segment on boutonnieres and varieties there, and then of course crowns. It's a very, very complete and comprehensive course and covering everything on Flowers to Wear. It was so much fun. It took 3 of us in the studio filming all the time to get all the work done and get the cameras running.
It was a lot of fun. Okay, so now I've got my bow in there and I've got all my product. My corsage is, the base of it's done. So now I just need to finish it. And so I'm going to go in and choose one of my longer stems. I'll probably keep this one as my longest stem. And then I just go in and I stagger. And what that staggering is going to do is when I bring this together, it's going to bring this nice, sleek, tapered point to my corsage.
Carol, I don't know how you do it. Your timing is impeccable because you've got about 3 minutes left and you're just winding it on down. It's like, oh my gosh.
And I'm going to give that a little cut. And now the way I finish, or way I was taught to finish corsages in the shop, was to ribbon wrap my stem. Nothing ever went out with just tape. So you turn it upside down, pop a little bend over that, give it like a twist like you would a hospital corner on a bed. And sometimes you have to tell it who's boss, because it doesn't always want to twist the way you want it to.
We want to know if this is going to be a pin-on when you're done, or if you're going to turn it into a wristlet.
This one, I don't have a wristlet here with me. It could go both ways. So I could turn this into a wristlet, or I could turn it into a pin-on.
Here's a funny statement. How big is too big? Is there rules on corsage sizing? And it's funny because a lot of them are getting smaller and more delicate and more intricate. And then you have the over-the-top huge, let's make a statement, and I don't even need to wear a dress because I have the corsage.
Right.
And I see both sides going on.
So now I'm going to take this end and I'm just going to give it a cute little curl. So now I'll fluff my bow. It's not going where I want it to. Give my ends a little bit of a trim. Make it all perfect and pretty. So it can either go in as a pin-on. I can slip a wristlet on there, and next time I'll have to bring a wristlet and show you how to do that. Or I can make that a wristlet. So there you go.
Well, and they're loving it. So, and Diane says, thanks for a wonderful, fabulous broadcast. Julie says, beautiful. We've got smiley faces. We've got lots of hearts. So everybody give Carolyn some love. If you haven't yet, share it out so that she goes famous. Make her break the internet.
And don't forget, flowers to wear, and the code is F2W100, good through now through October. So sign up. We want to see your work. And then don't forget bouquets to carry too. So with that, it's been a pleasure. It's been awesome putting my feet up and relaxing with you guys. I needed this time with you. You guys make my heart happy. So get out there and do something you love the rest of this week.